I am all ears. A ghost fancast.
Oh, alright. Shall we get on to the main event?
Uh, yes. We'll just get on to it.
Oh, fuck, okay.
But we'll just say both nights we were shitting our pants at Barrier while we waited for everything.
Yeah. Me literally almost on night 2.
Oh, I guess this is part of it because the show hadn't started yet. But for both nights they had this like special announcement with this guy who had like the most Boston accent ever. Like I thought it was like Richie for a second, but anyway, it was this guy with a Boston accent. He just came on and did this special announcement, basically just saying that, like, this is a never before seen show before. Like, you're gonna experience a ghost show like no other. And he's like, as a reminder, this is a device-free show. We want you to experience this like the good old days. Like, it's so Tobias coded. It was insane.
Oh, it was.
Like we want you to
Rock and roll history.
Be fully invested. We want you to tell your stories instead of posting videos and photos of social media. It's like, if you're the one person who didn't get this memo, and you like do something, like he was like insulting him, like, oh, you are an ignorant piece of, like, he didn't say this, but like it was basically like you're an ignorant piece of shit, or some shit.
Yeah.
He basically did say that though.
He did.
He literally did.
He was like, he was using
Stupid
all
asshole.
the describing like a terrible person.
Bro really came for my gig during that speech because he was like, oh yeah, you gotta post on social media all these photos. I was like, whoops, that's me.
Whoopsie.
Oh, Alva's in the room. Let's just cancel her. No. But so yeah, and then obviously then the music started. I can never remember the fucking name. You know, the little piano and then the that happens. The 15-minute long. Yeah, that one. The 15-minute long choir of
feels
stress.
like an hour long. It feels like an hour.
Got long. It was longer than in Europe, believe me, because they kept looping it, whereas in Europe it didn't loop. That was stressful. But yeah, and then the lights went down, and we were like, okay, all is normal so far.
Hey, we're ready. We're getting to it.
Yeah, and then a fucking video pops up of a van, and we're like,
and
oh,
everybody's freaking. We're like, oh my god!
The curtain was like significantly bigger than like other shows, at least from like my experience. It just felt like huge.
It was.
And they played this like almost like black and white video of like a van going through a tunnel.
Yeah, it was like sepia toned, sort of, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And each school got out the van one by one, and then as the drum dropped, that's when Papa got out, like in Imperium, not during Kaiser, just to like, and then you see Papa's face, and everyone just
and then everyone
collectively
was like, Papa!
Yeah, and then it kind of started as a normal show. I've got my notes up here just from what I made out. So one of the big things was that we lost the military jacket, even though it was on the advertising.
It was false advertisement.
We were robbed.
That was suable grounds.
It's unforgivable.
So he was in the gold jacket that he's been wearing like the entire the entire US tour. And we had a different mask.
Yes.
With long hair.
Sexy face. Not those faces sexy.
I was gonna say it was the mask that he, like, everyone's now seen it. It's the mask that he's currently wearing in Latin America right now. That it's the same mask. So it's like it's where it's the old face and it's like this extra long hair that looks like a bob, and it's just like that was the first thing I noticed, and then it was like, your hair.
Like, I think I remember even telling you, Cammy, like, his hair's so long. Like, very soon after it started.
Yeah. Fuck. So the notes I wrote down before we get on to like some of the major changes was, you know how he always does like a speech during spillways. So on night 1, I wrote down that he really emphasized that an era was coming to an end, but this was like it's going to be a celebration. And then on night 2, I got that he was gaslighting us into that it was Friday.
Yeah.
He was proper
Yeah,
gaslighting.
yeah. The first time it was like, we're coming to the end of an era, and we're all like, no.
What the
You're like,
fuck?
but it's okay. We're gonna have fun because it's happening now. You're like,
Yeah.
you can't just say that.
Yeah. And then a biggie for me was in night one during Absolution, which was my first time hearing that song live, so I was quite happy. Bro got down on his knees on the speaker and like basically looked right into my soul and sang the all those things that you desire line, and yeah, I died. Died.
I was
Very
like,
real of you.
I was like, Alpha, you were chosen.
That chosen one. Yeah, that was nice. But yeah, so everything was all kind of normal up until Watcher in the Sky, where the rigging for the lighting seemed to come very close to the stage, and we honestly thought Mountain was going to get crushed.
It was
Like, what was that about?
it was like sinking down, and like it was so close to Mountain, and I'm just like, man, be careful, it's coming right for you.
Look out! Look out! Like, it was before any like of the fog came out. So like, but as the song is starting, is when it's just like lowering, and it just keeps going. We're like, I kept thinking like, oh, it's gonna stop. It's gonna stop. No,
It just
it
kept
got
going.
lower.
It
And
turned
And then
his
they
head, I'm
put the
sure.
fog.
I swear it was like 2 inches above Mountain's head. Like it was so close.
And Bro's the
And then
tallest member.
yeah, and then and then
They wanted to change that.
eventually it did go back up on beat, and it was really cool looking, especially because like the fog was coming out, so it looked like it was almost like a rocket like going up into the air.
Yeah. And then
Ooh.
the dumb Hat Man came out.
Yes, the hat.
Yeah. And then that was pretty normal. Bro walked off doing his weird little fist salute thing, which it always makes me laugh. I don't know why. And it went
But yeah,
quiet
a
for
completely normal show. Like, the set was pretty much the same. Like the entire show, it's like, okay, what's different? What's going on?
Yeah, there was just like a long pause after Watcher, like longer than usual. Like normally there is somewhat of a little gap, but it's not more than just a few seconds. This one, it felt like a really long time, and we're like, so what's happening? And then we noticed the lights on the B stage came on.
yeah, that's the stage was so empty. So we all like whipped round and was like, and this was the one like downside to being at the barrier was that obviously we were the furthest away from the B stage. But we got on our tippy toes and we could kind of see what was happening.
We
Sort
we
of.
saw better on night 2. At least I did. I got a
I
better
did.
view on night 2.
Can I just say that I wrote down for night one that is this even allowed to be said? 'Cause- oh, fucking hell.
Oh, what is it?
Papa said, "Oh, how are you doing up there? Or you guys in the Stevie Wonder seats because you can't
Yeah.
fucking see."
I didn't catch on to what he meant by that until like after the show. I was like
And then
laughing.
he was doing and then he was doing that thing where he was like, "Let me hear you making a biting noise," and he was like, "Ow, ow."
Oh, so in case it wasn't clear, so he popped up on the B stage. Like, so we all whipped around and we saw the B stage. We saw there were people on the B stage. We later found out that they were like goulettes, like, and they wore these like black dresses and these like black veils, and they had these masks on. They were like very very creepy looking, but like in a beautiful way.
Yeah,
And
from
then
a distance they looked very spooky in the
oh yeah,
lighting.
they were super spooky from a distance. But it's been on Twitter now, or at least on social media, where people have seen what they looked like up close, which was very beautiful. But yeah, so he was on the B stage, and there were lights shining on the B stage, and you saw Papa walk upstairs, and then he was like, "Hello, like, it's so nice to be here, and like so close to all of you. I've never seen you so up close."
Hmm. Although, can we just talk about how our Swedish friends who were, because night two, when they knew about the B stage, they was like, right, we're going to be on the B stage that night because they
They
had like,
booked it to barrier at B stage.
yeah, and apparently, like Papa was Usain bolting it to get to that B stage from the main stage.
I never got where was he running. How did they see him
I
running?
think it was through the corridors to get there, but then
Like
obviously
on
we'll
the
get onto.
outside of the
Yeah,
floor?
yeah, I think so. And then he
like
came
where
through a
we
door.
were queuing
Imagine
before.
you went out to the bathroom or something, and then you come back and you just see him run by. Like, what's
Getting
going
knocked
on?
over by Papa. I
Like,
think so.
excuse me.
At least that's how I've seen other artists do it in arenas like that. And then obviously, like, we'll get on to how he got back later. But do you remember on night two that he was like, "I just need to adjust my Yeah.
What is it called? He even said, "What is it called?" Yeah.
Oh, the radio. Yeah, like the radio.
You know,
I thought it was his pants.
he just cut it off. He was just like, I had to adjust my what is it? Yeah, and then he just moved on.
But it took like 15 seconds of him just being like the what is it? And then he never thought of the word.
He never resolved that.
Typical. But yeah, and then fucking hell, then we were blessed with an orchestral rendition of "If You Have Ghosts." Fuck.
Crying.
Yeah,
Instant
he
cry.
he made it to where it was impossible to not cry.
He cried, by the sounds of
He
it.
cried on night 2. He cried on night 2.
Yeah,
and I broke me.
Yeah, because he kind of sounded like he choked up and like he kind of just stopped, but then he did the, all right then. I was like, oh fucking hell, I hate you.
So before he sang "If You Have Ghosts," he actually was like, he was actually speaking to the audience, and he was, I can't say exactly what he was saying. It was different both nights, but it was both like the same message, pretty much of like, not all of us are happy all the time. Like we're not doing great all the time, but that's okay. We can be happy with each other with tonight. You're never alone. And then "If You Have Ghosts," and I was like,
Sobs.
Yeah, I specifically remember on night 2 that he's like, "There's always a way to ease the pain."
Yeah, and then he was like saying that life comes with the ups and the downs, and
mhm.
I sobbed.
It was.
I ain't never
It
sobbed
was.
like that in public.
Oh yeah, I saw you. I was like putting my arm around you, like it's okay.
I was full on sobbing.
Yeah, it didn't hit me until like I was just kind of like just like savoring the moment because I was just like because I had heard "If You Have Ghosts" like a really long time ago, like during the Cardinal era. But obviously I never heard it like that before, and it had been so long, so I'm just like, oh my god. But then like on night 2, it like dawned on me. I was just like, oh my god, like like I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm here with friends. This is the last time I'm seeing Papa for who knows how long. And then I burst out into tears on night 2.
Yeah.
Same. I
Yeah.
was like, I can't even like I can't comprehend how much of a difference that has made for us. Like
Yeah.
I never thought I would even go on a plane. I was like, I guess I'm just confined to the North America where I can drive to for my life because I'm too scared to go on a plane and stuff. But then then we saw Ghost, and the first time we had floor tickets and stuff, it was like the best time. I hadn't had such a good time in like years. So I'm like, I have to do this immediately. So there we go to France, and now I can go on planes and I can go other places and I have a passport and I have friends.
Yeah, you're in France with us. Fuck.
Yeah.
And then we got a Gauss get together. What the fuck?
Yeah, and if you when we ran into you for briefly in Austin, like a year and a half ago, I guess, or whenever that was, a year ago, and somebody had told me that we would be going to Los Angeles and sharing an apartment together, we'd be like, huh?
Yeah, it's
But
so
it
bizarre.
happened.
It happened. And like it was so sweet as well because obviously where we weren't allowed our phones in, we'd all arranged originally this was going to be for hears and we still used it for hears, but we got these light up bracelets that had like an on and off switch. So like when they started doing it, if you had ghosts, we all turned those bracelets on as well, and it was so spectacular. It was so stunning.
Yeah, not everyone had them, but a lot of people had them where I feel like it was noticeable. It was noticeable
got
that
across.
Yeah, and the lights during If You Have Ghosts was it was pretty bright in there, so you could like see everybody in the whole place.
Yeah, it
And
was nice.
everyone was singing very loud in that song. It was very cool, and I am excited for everyone else to be able to see it whenever that video comes out, which better be like tomorrow or else.
But
And then there was that one ghoulette that was singing. Oh, she sounded so beautiful when she was like when she just did that like that operatic like. Oh. It was,
she was so good.
So good.
But then, can we talk about the emotional whiplash of what happened next with the
God. So he's just there, and it's just like, all right, this like everyone had just been sobbing, and then fucking, I think it was Kevin and Ashley. They came out. They put a fucking boxing robe on him. So at first I didn't like, because I feel like I had like a decent view of what was going on night one, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening? So I saw that they had like a jacket, and I was just like, is he putting on a jacket? I was like, is bro about to be like a maestro and like play the piano? Like, what the fuck is happening?
Hmm.
And then he put it on, and then I realized it was really long, and I was like, is it like a robe? And it was blue with like a black trim. And he turned around, and I saw that she like tied it. I was like, okay, it is a robe. And then they had a hood. They put the hood on. I was like, it's a boxing robe. And then Kevin came out with these gold boxing gloves and put them on. I was like, what is happening? And then I saw better on night two, that on the back it said Papa, IV, Papa 4 in like gold rhinestones, like chunky rhinestones. And I was just like, what?
It was such like a. To be fair, I was expecting more songs on the B stage. Not that I'm not complaining that they didn't, but I was
Mhm.
expecting maybe like a second song. But then Bro starts getting down, and you see the spotlight following him, following him down the crowd, and I was like, Bro's walking through us. What the fuck? Hello. And then, oh my god. And then suddenly Dominion starts playing on the stage, and we're like,
And we're just
oh
like, oh
shit,
my
it's
god,
time.
we're getting 20s.
Because
We're getting
if you know,
20s.
you know. We're gonna. But then this fucking like white curtain drops at the backstage, and these fucking skeletons come out of nowhere onto the drum riser, naked
They
as
didn't just
fuck.
come out; they ran out.
Yeah,
They were so fast. And
Ran
every
fast.
every like movement.
They were so animated. Like they were like jumping like crazy. I thought they were gonna jump off the stage at some points because of how like crazy they fucking were.
Yeah,
And like
they would come out to the edge and their hands are like on the edge of the stage and they're like leaning past it, making faces and stuff at us.
Yeah.
they were
So
spoopy.
I did a little sketch of this on my Instagram, and there was some debate on my Instagram, and I'm going to settle a couple of rumors right now. So, were they wearing morph suits? No. Were they
No,
naked?
they were
Yes.
naked
Yes.
and they were painted.
They were
Besides,
painted.
it was like all guys except there was one girl. So the all the guys, I mean everyone was wearing like thongs. So like, but it was like full on like ass cheek, like out.
Mm.
Everything was out. And then the one at least the one who had breasts at least
Yeah.
had nipple pasties. Yeah.
Because that was where I noticed the paint had worn off a little bit. Was round. Don't judge me for looking. I was just very curious. Yeah, that's where I noticed the paint had worn off a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, that is paint. Not that you couldn't really fucking
I
tell.
did see on one of the dancers, like I saw like this on the side, like I saw the how it was like, I knew it was a thong. But like I saw like, how he was wearing it, and like his normal skin was kind of peeking out just like a tiny bit.
Mm.
So like I saw that too. But yeah, they were painted to look like skeletons. It was a really good paint job, by the way. Super super good. They were all like wearing like bald caps too, and it was just like they were so intense. They were so like in your face and animated. And I can't remember which part of 20s it was. I don't remember if it was like right before like the guitar started, or like that second beat drop where it's like dur 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 dur, and then it starts
Ooh.
back up again. I can't remember if it was during like right before the guitar started or that second beat drop, but like they all like the music kind of stopped for a second, and like they got in a position and they lifted up like the feminine looking one like into the air, and she was like flailing her like arms and
Flying.
legs.
It was in that right before it pauses and then there's just like the somebody just
Ooh.
punched you in the gut sound.
Yeah,
Oh,
that.
so
Towards the
so it
beach.
was that second one where it's like do do
Do,
do do.
do, 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 do,
Yeah.
do, 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 do.
And there was like a longer pause there. From where we were, we could hear
So
like
like
the dancers counting a
they
little
could
bit.
set up to lift her.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
really cool. She
And
went
then,
really high up.
yeah, Bro comes skipping on.
He's walking like all like cocky and shit, and like
Yeah.
all these dancers are like fucking flailing around, and then he's just like walking out like yeah, like I'm hot shit. Like he's not wearing a robe anymore. He's wearing just the black jacket with the blue tie, right?
Princess Moon
The
Girl.
same
Yeah.
outfit he wore in Watcher, but without the hat. So he came out with that, and like I said this on my Twitter, how he because on the actual recording of 20s, he's like, listen up, you had your man, like he like says it in like a voice, but like in this he was like almost like speaking it, but like in a
Yeah.
super cocky voice. He's like, listen up, had your man, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh.
it was so good. And like the dancers like proper like worked around him, and he was like doing these little marchies, and then when it got to like the second verse, like everyone, like all the ghouls were marching and like was holding their guitars up and were like marching in place and on their platforms. Everyone was
It
marching,
was
the dancers were
cool.
marching. And then Bro got a lifty. Was it during the all the way to
It
the
was
30s?
so like when that last part's like in the 20s, in the 20s, they were all circling around him, and like we all kind of like thought it was gonna happen just because of how like it was like leading up to it, like they were
Mm.
circling around him and they were just all around him. And when he's saying all the way to the 30s, like on that 30s, they like lifted him up into the air. It was so effortless. There was like, because like I don't remember how many did it, but they like lifted him up. He had like one knee like kicked up, and he was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like he like it was like, yeah. I have no words.
Didn't someone say that like some of the paint rubbed off on his jeans though?
I can't remember.
I can't remember, but I didn't notice that anyway. But yeah, it was
I was
like
just like, man's lifted. He's in the
man's
air.
lifted. Yeah, it was kind of like one of those lifts that you where you kind of as if you're hoisting someone up onto your shoulders. So like his body was still upright at this point. It wasn't like the one that we'll get onto later. It was like they grabbed him by his thighs and kind of lifted him into the air like a fucking king or something. Um and also like on this backdrop, I forgot the fucking name of it. There was this Swedish 1922's film playing that featured someone kissing the devil's ass, which I was like, ha, a reference. But yeah, that was playing in the background. This really old black and white silent Swedish film. What?
And then they like put him back like on the stairs for the drums, and then the dancers were all like doing their thing again. And I remember I can't really remember it much for night one because I feel like I was looking at other things, but I remember on night two because I was more in the center and I could see it, and you can obviously see the same thing. Like Soto like came up to the front and he was like doing his solo, and he had like his legs apart, like where he has
Oh
like
yeah.
like one leg on the speaker, and he's just jamming out, and then one of the dancers like literally popped out between his legs and put her
Yeah,
face
they
like
like
right in
dived
the
in
fucking
there.
camera.
Oh,
I saw it on night one and I was like, ooh, that was cool. And then in night two, I know for sure there was a camera like right there and the dancer like looked into it.
yeah, that was
So
And
so
I
sick.
bet
some
that's
of
gonna
those
be in the
dances looked
final
directly
version.
into my soul, and I questioned a lot of things about myself.
And then there was that one bit where like Bro was like the front of this V and like the dancers were in the V behind him and he was
I
kind of
enjoyed that
doing
bit a lot.
yeah, he was doing like not like full on dance moves but like the same sort of steps as they were doing and I was like, oh my god, Bro's doing choreography, what the fuck?
It
Yeah,
was
like
so.
he
It
was
was.
doing like the similar stuff. Like what he did was fitting in with the dancers on multiple occasions, but it wasn't like a full on dance number for him.
I was gonna say he
Yeah,
did a very toned down version of kind of what they were doing. Like they were
yeah,
on like level 1,000, and he was like on maybe like level like 10.
yeah, Bro weren't
Yeah.
like slut dropping and like twerking or anything and like doing like a fucking like
If
foxtrot.
only. If only.
Imagine if he'd learned to like tap dance within the week of that show.
Yeah, like the what he was doing definitely fit in. Like it was meant to
Mm.
be fitting, but it wasn't like it wasn't exactly what they were doing.
It wasn't like it wasn't like with a pop artist, because you know how like, there's some pop artists like Lady Gaga where they're doing the exact same dance moves like the entire
Mm.
time. It's just more like a synchronized thing. It wasn't like that. It was just kind of like he was there, like the dancers were like moving with him. Like if he moved to like one side, they were going in the same direction. So like he was doing a very like again just a very toned down version, but he was moving. He was moving a little bit.
He was pretty much
And
dead
they,
dancing, and they were
and
following.
it wasn't like the entire time either. It was like in some parts where the
Yeah,
dancers were right there, and he was moving with them. But other times he was doing whatever his was doing something else.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But then the anyone wait before I move on. Anyone got anything else to say about 20s?
God, it was like as
Wild.
soon as it ended, I was like, nobody's gonna believe us.
My jaw was on the floor.
Like, what just happened? What was that?
I think he actually saw me with my mouth open.
No, all of us. I could tell you, all of us from like at least from the barrier side. I can't speak for anybody behind me because I wasn't looking, but I could like when I looked at everybody, everyone was just like jaw on the floor, like what,
Mouth open.
what?
I remember there being like firework sort of things from the top of the stage at the front.
Oh yeah, there was like I can't
They
remember at some point, but
like
there
sort
was.
of similar to the uh waterfall spark things. It looked sort of like that, but like firework shaped. I
Did
think
they go off when they threw that skeleton in the air, or am I imagining that? Like on
it's
the doo.
possible, but I don't remember enough detail.
This is why I need them to release the DVD because I'm like I can't remember everything.
I
Yeah.
was having like the best sensory overload ever. Like it was so good.
I was so overstimulated in the best way possible.
Literally. But yeah, then the show kind of got back on. Did it go to year zero after that? Was it year
Yeah,
zero?
it was like
Yeah.
it was just year zero. But yeah, just imagine the fucking whiplash of like everyone's crying during If You Have Ghosts. He puts on a fucking boxing robe. He walks through the audience. Dominion plays. Skeleton dancers pop out for 20s, and then he's lifted in the air. What kind of fucking emotional whiplash is
I don't think
that?
we stopped screaming for like the entirety of 20s, or even since he put on the boxing robe. I feel like we were all just like screaming, like, "What's happening?" Like the
Constant
whole
high pitch
time until-
frequency.
Oh my, and I remember like went during 20s, like it was like in the 20s, 20s.
We
I
could
was
not get high pitch enough.
I was
So
just
funny.
like, I put my all into it. So if the movie comes out and you hear very obnoxious screaming during, sorry,
That's us.
that's us.
But yeah, the next thing I kind of got onto my notes was that was it? I think it was during Mummy Dust. I saw him quickly check something on the bottom of his shoe. However, quickly before I get onto that point, just before respite on both nights, he kind of made speeches that were like again emotional. I think on night one he
They
said
were
something about
very much from Tobias, even though it was
yeah, like the one thing I've got written down for night one was that we've been getting bigger and bigger. Not like that, ha ha ha. But
Lizzie was holding her pinky up, and I think she said she had said like a grower, but like quietly. And he looked right at her and was like, "Not that." Oh,
Oh no.
wait. One thing going back to one thing going back to 20. Lizzie, in our group, Lizzie is Papa 5 confirmed.
Oh yeah.
because Lizzie was wearing the Kaiserian outfit, like the whole like Kaiserian suit, like with the military jacket and face paint and everything. And then when Papa sings like "You're the next in the chain to commit," he pointed right at Lizzie. It's like Papa 5.
you heard it here first, guys.
So I got this speech written down for respite for night two specifically because this was the one that fucking broke me. I put down that he said with teary eyes that he always wanted to come to LA as an entertainer, make people laugh, happy, cry, and then laugh again, and came here to play the Roxy. Well, not me, but you know what I mean. And yeah, there was just a bit where you could see, like, especially because we were on barrier, I was like looking at his eyes and they were watery as fuck. Man was crying.
It was so sweet. Like he just said, like he's like, I always wanted to be here. When we first came to Los Angeles, we played at the Roxy, and now we're here. Like they've gotten so big that they got to play in like such a big place and do something so special. And like I wanted to cry because I was just like I talked about it on my Twitter too, and that like it's just in those moments like you really just felt like we all really did just come together and like make this person's dream come true, and it was like so special.
This little Swedish man from Linköping.
I kind of got the feeling that on the second day he was more like looking around and kind of taking it in because there were, and I don't blame him, but he had messed up a lot of words in some songs, like 20s in
Yeah.
particular. But I feel like he was kind of uh more emotional on the second day. Like he wasn't joking as much.
Yeah, I felt this too because I feel like I'm not getting in his head here, but I'm just assuming that like I think night one he might have been a little bit too stressed to like really think about it because obviously it's like, is this gonna go right? But obviously where he's like, oh, okay, they reacted well to that, blah blah blah. He was probably a little bit more relaxed on night two, so the emotions came flooding.
Yeah, he came more. I feel like he got a little bit more confidence. He could just like, okay, they like the show. They like the show, so we know we can it was a
Mhm.
hit. It was a hit, and we're just doing it again. And yeah, he was definitely more emotional night two because like I felt like the speeches, like the speech before "If You Have Ghosts," I felt like it was a little bit more emotional.
Mm.
Night two, and then obviously he choked up during night two, and that was like that just hit really hard. And then his speech right before respite was it was longer. It was longer than on night two, and it was yeah.
Also
I wanted to
longer
cry.
because he had one shoe on half of the time.
This is what I'm going to get onto next.
Yes.
So I'm ready to talk about this for a whole solid hour. Let's talk about the grippers. Discuss. So as I said, like I think it was during Mummy Dust, I noticed him like look at the bottom of his shoe. I couldn't see anything wrong, but then like just as he was talking during respite, he was like, "Oh, Kevin come
No,
out to like blow the stage."
right after, yeah, it was right after it was Kevin came on stage, do his thing. It's like, I'm gonna call upon Jesus to help us, and then he's like, blowing all the stuff around. And then like he got to Kevin and he's like, he basically was saying like, can you give me like a new pair of shoes or something? And like the way he said it, I thought it was a joke. I was like, that's a really weird joke because like it didn't really make sense. But like but then, like, and then he starts talking, about to do his speech, and then fucking Ashley comes out with a new pair of shoes, and it's like, wait, it just like dawned on me. I'm like, is he actually about to change his shoes? Right? I thought he was gonna walk off stage to do it, but it's
Yeah,
like, no,
same.
he was right
Yeah, I
in
thought he
front of
would be
us.
like, hang on, I'll be right back. But no.
Nope.
Yeah, that was what he was gonna do. But no, he was right there at the front of the stage, at the front of the catwalk, and then Ashley just gets down and just fucking unzips his shoe and takes it off to put on another shoe.
And
And
she's like
I was
picking up his foot, like grabbing his foot to pick it up so she can adjust the shoes and stuff.
and then like she lifted up the pant leg a little bit. I saw like a tiny bit of calf. Man wears Nike socks, just so y'all know.
We all went and bought some afterwards. Just saying.
But like I was just like I talked about this too and how like I wasn't screaming as much on night two because like I kind of fucked up my throat a little bit on night one, like I felt it and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna scream as much because I want to be able to talk. But then that happened, all bets were off. I was screaming. I was just like, oh, you taking off the shoe, the Nike socks. I'm saying it's feet.
I think his feet look actually smaller in person. I'm just saying
They
that.
do. They do.
Everyone's joking about the concrete slappers.
Yeah, they looked so delicate, and then he wiggled his toes a little bit. I'm just like, ah!
His ankles are so tiny.
Oh my god, skinny ass ankles, the skinniest
Skinny for
fucking
real.
ankles.
For
And then
real.
I saw Ryan, like he ruined Alva's point of view.
Yeah, fuck you.
Ryan like got in front and then like was like he took like so many pictures and I'm like, where are they? Where are
Drop
they?
them. Drop the OnlyFans, please. But like, remember he was like saying, because I think he must have heard us like fucking losing our minds, because he was like, "Look, I gotta do this to be safe, all right?" It was like,
And I'm like, it's fine, it's fine.
No,
Be safe
no.
all you want, baby.
Did you hear him say? I think he was changing the one, and then I think Ashley was like adamant that he was going to change the second, and he was like, "Oh, the other one, okay."
Yeah, he seemed
Like-
surprised about the second one.
The second one.
Yeah,
He was just expecting the one. He's like, well, while we're here.
yeah. I
Yeah,
was
so
like,
like she's changing the second shoe, and he's like standing all crooked, and looks not very balanced. And then he's like, oh, like in the while she's doing it, he's like pretty much kind of on one foot. He's like, while we're doing that, we should take some time to thank everyone that was working.
God,
How do I get that job, please?
it was iconic.
It was literally
That moment alone ruined my voice, and everyone
literally.
can yeah, Alva and Ricky can attest. My voice was gone.
Yeah, when we got home, like, it sound like this.
So what I'm hearing is that we had an actual Victorian man moment.
Yeah, literally.
I really was no better than a Victorian man in that moment, because I literally saw Bro's like calf, and I saw his skinny ass little ankle in a sock, and I'm just like,
we lost our mind. I'm gonna be so sad if they cut that, because no one's gonna believe us. Otherwise, I was like, bro, it happened. Believe me, we saw them socks.
I promise you with my life and like I promise with everything of myself, it happened.
For real, because I can't. I lie awake at night thinking about it. Shout out to that. I really can't remember your name. I'm so sorry, but there was this one artist that within like hours of this happening, someone drew Copia with the Nike socks on, with his like feet like pointing towards, like as if it was a camera, and I was just like obsessed. Love it.
Oh,
Thank you.
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah, that was so good. I was like, fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, then it pretty much went into respite, which was like, you know, as it has been throughout the tour. And then he did the whole coming back with the after show jacket, which I think first night he was like, I'm always gonna go get tacos. And then he was doing that whole like fucking telekinesis thing, being like, I can make this as an after show jacket. Like, there you go. But then there was that one thing where he's like, oh, we have another problem. The band's gone. And we were all like fucking pointing behind him like it was a fucking pantomime. And he was like, behind you, behind you. And they weren't there. And he was like, oh. And then we were just like laughing because we're like, I got you. But then they did start walking on the other side. And then he was like, I think he said to Soto, like, I thought you were my friend. And Soto shook his head.
He when he saw them, he's just like, oh, they're here, or whatever. I don't know what he said exactly. But then he's like, I thought we had become friends. And then he's just like shaking his head.
But it made me laugh because, like, I've been banging on since Pantomime's been released about, like, the whole pantomime thing. So the whole pointing behind and the band not being there and him checking behind him and then not being there was such a pantomime moment. I was like, yes!
Wait. Before we move on, I just forgot. We left out an important thing.
What?
Miasma.
Oh my god! Yes!
So, when Miasma started, we looked over and we saw Swiss had not left his stage. And then we were all freaking
screaming so much. Like, they were all screaming, and I'm like, what are you screaming about? Because I hadn't caught on to what they were talking about. They're just like freaking out, like Cami and Alva and them. And I'm like, what's going on? And then finally I understood in the screeching that they said Swiss. And then I looked at Swiss and he's still there. And we're like, oh.
And then I was just like, I fuck it, because I called it, because I put it in my I put it in like a bingo thing. It's like, maybe we're gonna get like a special guest or something, because we're in Los Angeles. And I said it in a TikTok before, but I was just like, oh my god, Swiss is still there. We're gonna get the real Nell. We're gonna get the real Nell. And so normally during Miasma, like, I feel like the coffin or whatever, they do more like in the center of the stage, but this one they didn't. Yeah, for both nights they didn't. They kind of like had him off, and I think maybe just because they wanted to like cut down the travel time as much, since it was an old man.
They had an actual old dude.
Old man.
With the old man shoes.
They lifted the curtain. They lifted the curtain, and like you could tell it was the real one. It was the actor from the chapters in paint. And it's like, oh my god, it's him. And then yeah, he was wearing like old man loafers, and it's just like, oh my god. And then like he was so expressive with his face, like you could see his like teeth when he was like trying to like get at Kevin, and it was just like, ah! And then he played the saxophone. It was very cool. And then he was very sassy. Like it was so cool seeing him, like, you know, like seeing a person with actual face paint on being actually expressive.
We
So
really had the nil experience that weekend because we'd briefly met Justin Andrews
Oh.
the couple of days before.
Yeah, I think that you should say what happened.
Cammy licked his
Cammy?
finger.
it was okay. So they were doing the communion. They were doing the communion at the ministry. I just went up. I wanted to go up and get communion, and because I mostly just wanted a juice box, and then he's giving me the communion, and his fingers just grazed my tongue. I knew it was an accident, but it was still just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
Backtracking a little bit, I'm really sorry. Can you tell we're not ghoul stannies? Can we quickly talk about Swiss and Aurora during Cerise because that was new.
Oh yeah. So during Cerise, you know how they do those big beats, and you can kind of see the lights like pop up behind stage and whatever. And like we looked over and we saw that was it Aurora that was over there, or was that Cerise?
Yeah, it was. No, it was Aurora.
Okay, so it was Aurora. Aurora was over there by Swish's stage. Swish was on his knees, and they were kind of basically just like imitating like oral, pretty much. And
Dominatrix,
and Aurora
motherfucker.
even got like one foot on his shoulder, and she like had a hand on his head, and then she had like her other hand in the air, and she was like feeling it. She was feeling it.
Oh, stepping back in, our researcher Katie has just sent me the artist's name of the Nike pic. I'm really sorry, I can't pronounce your name. It's Ticey Fox. Their Twitter at is Ticey_Fox. They did the foot picture, so thanks for that. I love you. But yeah, going back on track now a little bit. So yeah, we're in the blue jacket phase. Dance Macabre's about to start. And I remember Bro was saying
he does
something.
kiss the goat. He does kiss the go-goat. It was it was fine.
Yeah, all
I don't
normal.
remember how he did it for night 1, but I remember for night 2, he's like, you wanna sing, you wanna dance, you wanna kiss.
Oh yeah, but oh no, going back to just before Kiss the Go-Go. Sorry, we're very out of order here. This is what our brains are like. Do you remember in night 1 when he came on stage? He was like, the crew told me like I must tell you to come and fuck off, but I can't do that. There's too many of you, so I'm just gonna tell you sternly, leave.
Oh yeah, I'm still used to.
I hate him so much.
Yeah. But yeah, before Dance Macabre, he said something about like everyone's got different sizes, ages, experiences, or something like that. Like, or was that after Dance Macabre?
that's
That's
before
right
Something
before
like
Square
that.
Square. That's right before Square.
Ah, okay. Well, anyway, going back to Dance Macabre, all started normal, and then guess who comes back out? The motherfucking
dancers!
skeletons in
But
the.
they're
Like,
now they have
wearing like this, like they're wearing like satin like dress pants with like a glitter stripe on the side, and they're wearing like little bow ties and like wrist cuff things. I don't know
and
what
the
they're
body.
called.
Yeah, the body paint's glitter now as well.
And now they're completely covered in glitter.
Yeah,
And it was beautiful.
it was gay as fuck. So we get to
Oh
the bit
god.
where just before the usual Swiss shimmies take place, where Bro's on Phantom's platform.
Just like that instrumental bit.
Yeah, the dancers are all like surrounding him, and we're all like, "Oh!" And according to my
He's
sources,
on the side stage, like he's on that side corner, and he's doing his thing. Like, is that where he does like one last time in the ancient rite? Where he
yeah,
does a
just
little,
before the
up in
instrumental.
air? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, according to our Swedish sources that were over there, because I couldn't see this because we were kind of too far behind. One of the dancers starts rubbing down his stomach and his crotch, and then
Yeah, they had their arm between his legs, and they went up from between his legs, and then like ran it down him.
And, before that, like while he was singing, they were kind of like in a line behind him, and they were all like imitating sex positions, and it was like,
oh yeah,
so
gay.
cool. Because like
So gay.
there was the one
tickets to the skeleton orgy.
Yeah, because like again, there was like one female presenting one in the group, and she was like lifted in the air, like basically like riding this one skeleton dancer's face, super, super hot. And then these other dancers, like, I saw there were other dancers like basically just imitating Doggy. And I was just like, oh my God. Oh,
And it wasn't like a slight suggestion of these. It was like
oh
full.
no, it was like very in your face.
Yep, full on sex on stage. Because, you know, ghosts are so family friendly these days. We're so sick of them being family friendly. if you know, you know. But yeah, they followed him afterwards, and then yeah, they did the rub down, literally, and then lifted him on his back. So he was like facing the ceiling, and he was on his back, and they were like carrying all parts of him. And bro was being he was in his princess era, being twirled around, like carried
Yeah,
down the stairs.
he had like one leg kind of kicked in the air, like he was like literally a little princess in the air, and he's just twirling around, and it's just like, oh my God, it was so majestic and beautiful.
Yeah, but didn't someone point out that that is literally what a dance macabre is? Like
Yes.
it's, and I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Um,
it was beautiful. And then
with the
and
rainbow
then, like,
lights.
what?
With the rainbow lights, it was so
Yeah, with
gay.
the rainbow lights, it was the gayest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then when they put him back down and he's back to singing, like the dancers now have these like fans with ribbons on them, and they're like, it was Pride Month in that fucking venue.
Yeah, so gay. And then like during the last little bit, like this camera guy came. We hadn't really seen cameras on stage at all at this point, but right up until like the last couple of notes of Dance Macabre, this camera guy comes around and like circles Papa. So it's gonna be like a 360 type of thing.
Didn't they do this? Didn't they do the same thing during 20s? Like when they lifted him in the air, didn't they also like? Didn't the camera also circle around him?
They could have done. I was very much
Yeah, I
busy
don't know.
looking
I
at
was,
bro in
I
the
was
air.
like, yeah, I was looking at Papa and I had tunnel vision.
But bottom
Literally.
line, there are some 360 shots. There are some 360 shots in there.
Yes. Yeah, and then it just went into Squarehammer, and I think that was fairly normal.
Yeah.
And then
it-
we cried
comes
afterwards.
out, he comes out like running for the last bit. And one more time up the poop chute. And I
I was
start
like,
crying.
a callback. It's like, Bestie, no one understood that joke, and you're still talking about it.
Stop trying to make
no
poop
one
shoot
got
happen.
that joke the first time, and then he brought it back for the ones that liked it.
Oh. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it. And then like both nights ended. We got crushed because people were trying to get mummy dust at the end, and the security
Oh,
were like,
yeah.
"Guys, you gotta leave." And we're like,
They're
"We
like,
can't move."
Get out. Like, I can't get out. They're smashing me. Also, people doing the smashing, consider that if you stop trapping us, we can leave and you can get what you want.
Exactly. Yeah, like we can leave. You can come forward. You can go get your mummy dust. Please let us through, please. But yeah, and then we pretty much like sobbed our way out to the venue, unlocked our phones, and jumped straight on the internet and
And
reported
then
what happened.
I was like, as soon as I got access to my phone, I was like, gayest show I've ever seen. Man was lifted. Skeleton, he was a boxer. Man was Rocky. And I was like, I'm not even fucking kidding. He had naked, glittery skeleton dancers, and then everyone was like, "What are you talking about?"
Look, guys, we're so serious. The naked
I'm
skeleton
so fucking
dancers were
serious
lifted.
right now. Like all ideas of making jokes out the window, because I was just like, no one's gonna fucking believe this shit anyway.
Yeah, Katie, what did you like when you started seeing what was happening? Like,
Oh,
was you like, they're fucking with us?
No, like I didn't think that you guys would fuck with us, but like I
It's
was
me. Come
trying
on.
to I was trying to stay awake because I was like really like anxious, like what's gonna happen. But like ultimately I had work the next day, so like I couldn't. So I ended up waking up in the middle of the night and started like checking Twitter, which was a mistake because I could not go back to sleep because I was just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like what, oh my god, what is going on? Skeletons, naked skeletons, did boxer gloves? I was just like freaking the fuck out, just like reading everything that you guys had said and everything that had happened. And it was just like, it was kind of like getting hit in the face with it all at once. Like oh, you guys experienced it like through the show, like, oh, and then this happened, and it was just like, I just got hit with it, like, it was like somebody ran up to me, punched me in the face, and then like ran off again.
Yeah, because I suppose like where we were like experiencing it, everything was kind of happening. And then there was a little sense of, I don't want to say normality because it's a ghost show, but you know, something we were a little bit used to. So it was like in bites. Whereas I feel like when we all came out and like dumped on Twitter, the people on Twitter must have just got like all this information all at once. Like, what the fuck? Like, B stage? What the fuck's a B stage? Googling B stage, dancers, titties, lifts,
Yeah,
Nike
Yeah,
socks,
yeah.
At least for us, I guess it was somewhat in context
and spread
when we
out.
saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he snuck in these like super like special like things. So like, you know, we kind of got we got them in like doses where it's like, okay, we got like a normal show, bam, we got hit with something, and then it was back to a normal show, a little bam, and then like, you know, we end on a normal note. And like, you know, we kind of got these in like waves, but then yeah, when we went on Twitter, we were only talking about the bams.
Yeah. Like,
and then were
insane. It
you
was
on
just insane.
were you on Twitter for night 2 as well?
Yes.
When I talked about the socks.
I was, and I like was losing my shit. I was like, and then I heard that Ryan took pictures, and I was like, well, it's gonna be on the Instagram roll, right? And it was like,
No.
it has to be, right? And then there was nothing, and I was like, Ryan, why are you holding out on us?
Can we bully him into releasing them? Is that allowed?
It was so funny because it was just like I didn't think there was going to be anything to like really report on for night 2 because it's like, okay, night 2 it's going to be the exact same, so there's nothing to be like, oh my god, there's dancers, like there's already been dancers, like there was like nothing new to report. But I was like, sucks. Oh my god.
Like the same, like I wasn't expecting anything new either, you know, but I was just like, well, like I know my friends are there, so like I'm waiting for the report from my friends to see how it went, if they had a good time. And then y'all come back and are like, man had his feet out, we saw the grippers. And I was like, why did I not go?
I'm gonna just say none of us were feet people until that moment.
No, I actively hate them, but I just want to say that changed me.
I see I get it. I get it.
Only his, though.
Only
Lives were
Really?
changed.
Lives were literally changed at the Gear Forum.
I feel like those shows, I learned a lot about myself during those shows.
Yeah, it was like, who needs therapy? I just needed the Kia Forum experience.
The Kia Forum experience.
It's
It
like-
was a you know, all ghost shows are a bit of a sexual awakening, but the Kia Forum ones were especially
yeah.
awakening.
And then we all got ill, and we all died, figuratively and literally. But no, it was probably my favorite. I think night 1, even though we had the stress of the whole day, night 1's probably been my favorite ghost show I've ever experienced ever, and I really can't wait. But I just want to know if they'll do the whole thing.
I did like the views from night 2 better, just because it was more thinner and I didn't have a spotlight in my eyes.
But I like the element of surprise that I've never, because even like in Rouen, there was an element of surprise, but I knew there was not going to be anything too outlandishly out there. Like, but this, because it's been so
you got the
hyped up.
introduction of the red jacket.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
And Jesus, he knows me.
Yeah,
But
I will
it
say
wasn't
as
really
well.
a surprise, I guess, but it was the first time we seen it.
Ghouls. You got Phantom and Aurora. Like Ruin. I wish I was at Ruin because that was a show.
It was a good show. I must say though, still no Griffwood, so I'm still holding.
You have been robbed of it.
15 times I've been robbed of that song. I will say as well, one of my favorite moments was coming out of the Kia Forum, finally having access to my phone and seeing a message from Pixie, aka Pixie Small Ghoul, saying, wait, let me pull it up because it was so fucking funny. Is baby girl okay? Please tell me my baby is okay. And I just replied with, he's alive, just gayer. Alright, so yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Gonna wrap this up. So Cammy, where can we find you on the interwebs?
I'm mostly on Twitter and TikTok. I also do have a Tumblr. My username is yourfaveguesty. and I'm like my layout's all pink, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Slay. Okay, Katie?
At C2May on Twitter.
Yeah. Shout out to Katie, by the way. Bless her, she's had to listen to us scream for about 2 hours.
Honestly,
sorry.
I am enjoying it. I'm having fun. I like hanging out with you guys, so it's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, she's been our outsider reporter. And Vicky, aka Miss Chosen One, Miss I've held Mr. Forge's hand, Miss Jarl Hat. Where can we find you?
Cowboy hat creator.
Yes, where can we find you?
At Big Scaredy or Big_Scaredy on Twitter.
Alright, and you know where you can find me, because I'm everywhere. Like, whether you like it or not, I'm everywhere.
Everywhere. You
Alright.
can't escape.
Well, this episode is going to be split into 2 because we've been talking for 2 hours. And it's going to come out one day after another because, unfortunately, by the time this podcast comes out, it will be a week away from the final show in Australia.
I'm
And I'm
crying
scared.
already.
I'm already scared.
So
Alright.
scared. I'm so
But yeah.
scared.
Screaming,
We'll
crying, throwing up.
we'll catch up with you with whatever the fuck happens there. So yeah, till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.